Ken, your first episode back since having a kid. Like, how are you feeling? Oh no, Ken, 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 wake up!
Hey, welcome to the Overtalking Podcast with your host, Ken and CJ. Hi, CJ.
Hi, CJ.
This is the show where we talk over TV shows and movies and chosen by our guests. And this week, no guests, just Ken. I'm back.
Ken's back.
Hey.
How you feeling?
A little tired.
Yeah.
Definitely an adjustment to not having full nights of sleep ever, really. But it's good. Yeah. No, getting used to it, and I'm at the point where now I feel like, I.
Oh no! All right. Well, we had a couple minutes. Okay.
It's like I take little mini naps every now and then, but we get through it.
Hey,
So,
you gotta take them while you can get them.
That's right. Look, we had a great show for you this week. I'm back. I'm just gonna talk about Baby and what I've been watching, even though I think maybe we just did one of those. I don't know. I'm a little behind on the podcast. I'm not gonna lie.
That's perfectly all right. You
Yeah.
have the most valid excuse.
Yes, but I've been keeping track of what's going on. I at least see them pop up in my feed, and I just wanted to thank you for really. I called in a couple of times while I was out, and I just wanted to thank you for respecting the just a couple of rules I had, which were I think the first one was no horror movies.
Yep.
And although
Definitely
I think
abided by that.
you covered 2 while I was out, so that wasn't great. Well, then I also just said anything, nothing like, pregnancy, birth related. And you covered 2 things that were a little triggering as well. Push,
Yeah,
because, pushing out the baby. And then, where do babies come from? You covered snatch. I thought that was a little inconsiderate.
Jesus.
That was the next week. So
Yikes.
I don't know. No, it's all good. I actually haven't seen A Girl Walks Home Alone with the Skateboard or whatever that one's called.
Yep, you nailed it.
Yeah. It's hard for me to watch. That one's subtitled, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I'm curious to listen to what your thoughts were on that one. What speed you watched that. I guess if you had to read, that would have been a little tough with a faster speed. But
You don't think I can read fast?
I don't know. It's hard for me to.
You should watch that one. I think you'd like it.
No, it's been on my list. I think I started it one time, and then I was like, I'm not in a subtitle mood tonight.
Yeah.
But I've got a list of things I've been watching while I've been out, but we can get to those in a little bit. But I have a child now.
You do. You're a dad.
Little Nora, last name, has joined our family, and very very sweet. Just starting to consistently recognize me and smile, which is very rewarding.
Nice.
Before that, it's just full potato mode, just looking around. So it's starting to get a little bit back in terms of her feedback. It's good to get a comment card on how well I'm doing with feeding the bottle and changing her.
You make some sort of joke and she poops her pants, that kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah. This child will not stop pooping. Like, we read that, like, it's normal for your child to have, at least at this age 4 bowel movements a day, and ours still is shitting constantly, like nonstop, before a feed, after a feed. So definitely, enough bowel movements for sure.
She's got that healthy gut biome. That's good.
Yeah, it's going through. So that's good.
Better than not, I think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What's your normal schedule like? How often are you sleeping and for how many hours?
So it's gotten a lot better since the beginning. Right now, we are really only waking up, it seems like, just once in the middle of the night to feed her. And then we get till like 6 or 7 in the morning, and then I'm just kind of up at that point. So it's not bad at all right now, although we're up for like an hour in the middle of the night to feed her and then put her down. It takes a little bit. But before that, it was a lot. I don't know. In the beginning, it was you're supposed to wake them up every 2 to 3 hours to feed them, because in the beginning they lose a lot of their body weight just because they're like out of the womb, and just for whatever reason it takes a lot more energy for them to exist. So
Makes sense.
yeah, you're supposed to wake them up every 2-3 hours. So every 2-3 hours throughout the night, we're up. That was, fine. you get used to it too. We watched a lot of TV.
Yeah.
I'll segue into just one thing that we were watching. I want to take a break and talk about some other stuff too. But have you ever heard of Vanderpump Rules?
Of course. I don't watch it, but yes.
Yes. The reason that I wanted to watch this was friend of the show, Zach from the now, I assume, defunct Have To podcast, mentioned that he and his wife binged that when they had their first child. And I don't know, for whatever reason, that stuck in my head. It's been probably 5 years since then. And that's what we're watching now. And it is the trashiest garbage. It's a spinoff of the Real Housewives series.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize, because Lisa Vanderpump is a Real Housewife, I guess, and she runs various restaurants. And one of the restaurants, some of the people who work there are just either awful human beings or just interesting to watch their dating lives, and they all sleep with each other and find out about it later and fight. And it's great. It's great television.
Have you gotten to an episode where somebody just fully flips a table at dinner or something like that?
Yeah, several. Yeah,
several.
That's happened many times. Yeah,
because I feel like I catch random clips of that, and I'm not sure how often that is occurring, but that's very funny to hear that it's more than just once or twice.
Several people have sex addictions or alcoholism, and it's very fun to watch. Highly recommend it if you just have time to burn. Our work, CJ and I work together. Our work gives me 5 months of paternity leave, which is amazing.
Yeah,
I have not heard of that elsewhere. So very, very grateful for that. And so I am off for a while and don't have to worry about work, which is amazing. So yeah, this is how I'm filling my time, is taking care of my child and watching trash television.
Yeah. I feel like this is harkening back to the college days of watching a lot of reality TV show and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was the
boom.
I
used to watch Jersey Shore in college. I think that was probably one of the first trash television shows I watched. And then I guess eventually after college got into Real World, which was the tail end of when they stopped filming that show. And then of course still watch The Challenge, which I guess is kind of trash, but at least there's a competition portion of that.
Yeah.
What else trash do I watch? I feel like that's kind of it.
Yeah. Not trash. This would be a highly elevated form of reality show, but I know you're also a big Survivor guy.
Yeah, that popped in my head too, but I'm like, no, that's actually good. Have you watched any more since the one you watched with Carissa?
Nope.
No? Okay. It's a good season, actually. I would recommend it if you do have any inkling on catching up, but
yeah. I'm not opposed to just doing what we did for the first part, was just go over to Eric and Chris's house and watch it with them on Wednesdays.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That's what me and friend of the show Matt and his wife do every week on Zoom. Is we just get on a Zoom call and just catch up, and then we watch Survivor, and then we talk about it afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah, easy way to do that without leaving our house, because that's something we don't do anymore.
Yeah.
So I talked to Meg, and the birth story was interesting and didn't go according to plan, and she said it was okay if I shared it.
Oh.
And so I want to tell you about it, because it's wild and didn't go the way we wanted it to. So Meg was induced because Nora just didn't want to come at all. So it was a week after our due date, and for whatever reason, Meg's OB was like, okay, let's just induce. So we went in at 7:30 at night, because that's when they do inductions. They do them at night, which when we were scheduled, we're that seems really weird. We're can we do noon or something? So we have the baby and then we can have the night or something. But I guess that's just the beginning of never sleeping again. So anyway, we went at 7:30. Meg was induced. I won't go into all the details that went along with that, but eventually her water broke naturally, maybe around midnight. And we're okay, cool. Things are moving along. And they keep checking. She's dilating further and further. And it gets later and later into the night and finally into the morning. And she's 8 centimeters dilated, which is out of 10 centimeters, which I didn't know. And then, so at some point she was given an epidural because we ain't fucking around with that.
Yeah.
And then just throughout the day, just nothing's happening, not progressing, just sitting there forever. And they're trying different things to try to move it along. And eventually Meg's like, wow, I'm starting to feel pain. And the nurses, we have a bunch of different nurses coming in and out throughout the day. Some are like interns even. So like that was a little discouraging. And we tell this to them and they're like, oh, well, you can press this button and get a little extra shot. And so we do that. And Meg's like, no, it's not helping. And that goes on forever. And like, she's feeling more and more pain. And finally they're like, okay, I was like, can you call the anesthesiologist? And they're like, well, let's just wait and see if the button click works or whatever. And no, it's not working. Finally, they call the anesthesiologist and they check, and her epidural had like popped out. Like it was like the line was torn or something like that. I don't know exactly what. So Meg's in freaking agony. I am freaking out. We've been there for like almost an entire day at this point, and she still hasn't progressed, even with all the other things they've tried to move it along. And at that point, we really didn't want to have a C-section. Like we really just wanted to have it normally done. Meg was like really worried about having to have a C-section going into this. But at this point she's in agony and they're like, okay, so we can either redo the epidural and in like half an hour, you'll finally have relief. And then we can just keep going and see if you progress for a few more hours or however long they would have tried. Or we can just go do a C-section. They'll like do a spinal tap thing and immediately fix your pain. And Meg's like, fine, let's just get this over with. So they wheel her out away from me. She's still in agony to the OR. And they're like, okay, get all your shit together because we're in like this delivery room. And they're like, you're not going to be coming back here. So we had like a lot of stuff because we expected to be there for a while. And I get it all gathered up and like, okay, we're going to take you to this other room and they'll come get you and bring you to the OR where Meg is. And then I just sit there and wait for 20 minutes where I'm worried that something's gone wrong. Like something's horribly wrong. Why haven't they come got me? Like, is my wife okay? Like, I am freaking out. It's the worst ever. I'm sure not as bad as Meg was having it, though. But by that point, just to skip ahead, she is doing a lot better. They eventually come get me, and they're like, yeah, she's good. She's, like, actually maybe a little happy about having this happen now, and they bring me to her. And finally, they pull out Nora and show us her, and then literally none of the stuff that happened before this mattered at that point. It's really wild. It's like a switch flipped. Like oh my God, we finally have our daughter. Like it was really, really incredible. Just like seeing her for the first time.
I bet.
I don't know. You like hear about these stories from other people and but when it happens to you, it is very strange. And it was really, really nice. So, anyway, that's the long birth story that I just wanted to share because I thought it was really interesting.
And, glad everything worked out in the end. But that sucks that she had to go through that.
I know, and it's not what Meg wanted. But I will just say Meg is doing great. She has recovered completely already and was recovering amazingly well in the hospital too. We were able to go home pretty quickly. Usually they keep you longer if you have a C-section. But Meg was doing amazing, so we just were like, okay, let's leave because we don't want to be here anymore.
Right.
Nurses freaking, when you're in the hospital, man, for a baby, nurses come in and check Meg at least like every hour at a minimum. And so like trying to get sleep for her.
Oh yeah.
Like impossible. And for me too, like they luckily in each of the rooms we were in, they had like a full couch for me to lay down on. So like I was able to like actually lay down. I keep hearing horror stories of people who were like, yeah, I got like a chair.
Right.
Like not even reclining. I'm like, oh my God, I hope that's not me.
That's what in my head I was picturing is just, this like wooden chair in the corner.
Yeah. No, this was great. They thought this through. So I was very, very grateful. And I told the staff there that I was like, okay, I'm really very happy that you guys had this. But like every time they would come in, I would feel weird because I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do, but like, I don't want to just be like laying down here with like people in here. So I would like get up and be like, just appear to like be present, even though like I also was completely sleep deprived.
Yeah, probably a zombie.
Yes, yeah. And eventually, we were there for like 3 days total. By the end, I would just was like, fuck it, whatever. They I'm sure deal with people who just their husbands are just asleep when they come in. So just getting over my own social anxiety with the whole situation. But anyway, that's the weird dad's perspective of a birth. So there you go.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too hard on yourself for needing sleep. That is a biological necessity.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, Nora's great. Very, just I just love being a dad. Really, really love Nora so much.
I'm really happy to hear that. I love you guys, and I'm glad everything worked out okay, and you're all happy and healthy.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm glad. I'm glad too. It's definitely I think the best case scenario over here. We're all doing great. Very happy family, and also we're at the point where like I'm just enjoying my time off of work too. So like it's
good.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon you'll be out there doing lawn work. It'll be great.
I already started. Soon? No, man. We're recording this a little ahead of time for when this is released, but like, I've already planted some new grass seed out there. It's coming together. I'm excited.
There's the dad.
Yeah, that's right. I'm cleaning out the garage right now. This sounds very like dad.
Love it.
Yeah. I wanted to let you know we listened to your latest song, The Adventures of Terry.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, very, very good. We have, I think Meg might already told you this, but we've subbed out the word Terry for baby, and then we also don't remember any of the other lyrics, but we just keep saying that part over and over. The Adventures of baby, and then like she does a good job pooping or whatever, but just stuff like that. So yeah, that has been incorporated into our just daily ramblings. So
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I hope Nora is enjoying hearing that as well.
I don't know. She seems fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got for baby stuff. But yeah,
all right.
Been watching a lot of TV and movies, and I figured I'd talk about that aside from Vanderpump Rules, which I still highly recommend.
Dude, would you say that it rules?
Yeah. Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I was going for. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's great. It's great trash television. I was watching some interview with Seth Rogen about his latest Apple TV show, The Studio. And he was, I don't know for how it got on this, but he ended up talking about that he had like just binged all 11 seasons of Vanderpump Rules, and that he ran into a couple of the castmates from it like outside after watching it, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're Katie." And like he was like geeking out over them, and they were like, "You're freaking Seth Rogen!" Like, what? Anyway, I thought that was funny. All right, ready to hear what I've been watching?
Yes, please.
Okay, in no particular order, but really just in order of what we watched. Watched a movie called Night Bitch.
I've heard of that.
Yes, I love the title.
Based on a book, I believe.
I think so. Yeah, I think it said that. It stars, what's her name? Amy Adams. She is the titular night bitch. It's actually a story about being a mom, which was kind of strange. Like the first movie we watched after having our child was like this like maternal story about like losing herself in motherhood and then trying to find herself and becoming like feral in the process. And it was interesting. It is kind of funny though. I think you actually might like it.
I was going to say, isn't it like part comedy or has funny parts?
Yeah, I would say it's like a dark comedy.
Yeah. Okay.
It came up as like comedy horror, but I would say it's like a black comedy maybe.
Okay. The one clip of that I have seen is Amy Adams in her car just really rocking out and singing along to Weird Al. And I was like, all right, I like this. I like this.
Yeah, that happens. Anyway, I like that a lot. I don't think I'm gonna do all of the ratings and everything for it, but I'll just say whether or not I liked it. But yeah, Night Bitch was good. Skipping around, I finally watched Saturday Night. I assume you've seen this.
Yeah, I watched it on a plane.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good plane movie, I feel like.
Yeah.
That was, I really liked this a lot.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
I'm sure it's not 1-to-1 for like what really happened that night.
Absolutely
I'm
not,
sure it was
no.
completely dramatized thing, but
Yeah.
um,
I've heard clips of like, I've heard Lorraine Newman talk about that movie or be asked about it. She's like, yeah, no, it didn't quite happen. like it's,
sure. Yeah. But man, the casting for like some of the cast, like John Belushi, oh my God.
Yeah,
It's just
that guy was
him.
really good.
Yeah, I think they did overall great job. For those who don't know, it is we basically said already, but the dramatic retelling of the first night that the show Saturday Night Live went on air, and like the hour leading up to it airing.
Yeah. Chaos and hilarity ensues.
Yes. Yeah. Highly recommend it. I think it's on Hulu, maybe, or Netflix, wherever. It's good. A movie that is not good that I watched. I'm listening to a podcast called The Halloweenies, and they're a horror franchise podcast. Is how they advertise themselves, and they've gone through most of the horror franchises at this point. So now they're just doing Universal Monsters.
Nice.
And as part of that, they're like each month they're choosing like one of the Universal Monsters, and like they'll cover the original one, and then like some of the ones that are maybe more recent. And so the month of February was Mummy Month, and they covered the 2017 The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
I've never even heard of that. Is it a remake of The Mummy?
I guess technically, not really. No, it's actually it's a completely different one. So it's they were trying to start a dark universe where they were going to like introduce like Frankenstein and the Wolfman into like this shared universe like Marvel. But they put all of their eggs in one basket, and it was this movie, and it bombed, and the dark universe never got made. So it still says like the dark universe at the top of this movie, and it actually even has Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in it as like a featured character. But yeah, it obviously never took off because this movie sucks hard. Highly don't recommend it. I knew it was going to be bad going into it. Like that's why I had not watched it yet. And man, it's just not a good movie. It's doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's got a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I gave it 1.5 stars on Letterboxd, so I'm pretty in line with that, I think.
Yeah. Yikes.
Not great. I kind of have this weird flow of how I watch these movies, but the next one I watched was another Tom Cruise movie. Let's see if you can figure out what it is. The tagline is "Live, Die, Repeat."
Oh, I've seen that one. He keeps reliving the same moment over and over again.
Yeah. Also stars Emily Blunt. It's called Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah. I just watched that like a year or two ago.
Okay. Yeah, I had never seen it before, but I kept hearing like this is like a lot of people's like sleeper, maybe like favorite Tom Cruise movie. And I was like, well, how have I not watched this yet? Like it's a super like futuristic sci-fi movie where they are fighting a war against aliens. And something happens to Tom Cruise where every time he dies, he relives the beginning of that day, and he's trying to find a way to stop the war and defeat the aliens. And he gets like better and better at fighting as it goes. But man, it's a great movie. I really, really liked it, man. It like the action is great. The story is pretty engaging.
Yeah.
And man, I just like that kind of time travel Groundhog's Day thing anyway. So it all worked well for me. I thought Tom Cruise acted great in it. Obviously, Emily Blunt is great. And if you haven't checked out Edge of Tomorrow and you just want something actiony, kind of sci-fi-y, but it's still set on Earth and it's not even really all that much about the aliens. Check it out. Bill Paxton's in it. Really good movie.
You haven't checked that one in on Letterboxd, but I found that I gave that 4 stars on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I was going through my diary and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't log that one. I'm going to have to figure out when we watch that. But yeah, I would give it 4.5. I don't know. I really, really liked it.
I just because I have it pulled up, Carissa, who notoriously does not care for action movies, also gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd.
Okay.
If that says anything.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone really appreciates Carissa's contributions to the podcast while I was out. Thank you, Carissa, for co-hosting, and Eric as well. And just if Carissa likes it, it's good.
Yep.
So go check it out. I watched Lilo and Stitch for the first time because Meg wanted to watch that.
Nice.
It's fine.
The new movie or like the show?
The old movie.
Okay. Aren't they coming out with a new movie?
They're coming out with a new movie that's live action with like a CGI Stitch.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Oh, in May.
There's nothing wrong with the original. I don't know why they did that. But yeah, there was a show I think that spun off of this too.
This live action one that's coming out in May looks weird. I like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know why they want to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. We don't need to talk more about Lilo and Stitch. I watched a horror movie one night because Meg was doing something else, and I was like, okay, well, I actually got a free night, so I'm going to watch a horror movie. And so I put on a 2023 French subtitled horror movie that's only streaming on Shudder, so this isn't going to hit a lot of people, but it's called The Vortilac, which I don't know what that is, but it's basically about this. It's a period piece where this like Kingsman, this like elite Kingsman with like the powdered face, is like traveling through the woods, gets lost, and he stumbles into like this family's house where they're gonna hopefully give him a horse so he can travel on. But shit's going weird. The like grandpa is left. He went to like avenge something that happened earlier, and he said, if I don't return within 6 days exactly, then do not let me back in because I will be a Vortilac. And 6 days pass exactly, and then 1 minute later, they see the body of the grandpa slumped over, just like right there. And they're like, oh, how long was he there? Was he back before those 6 days? And they bring him up to the table that they were all sitting at, and they prop him up. And he is a like life-size mannequin, like a puppet, like kind of thing, like really creepy, gaunt, and is effectively like a vampire. Like not exactly a vampire, but that's the gist. Like he sucks on like the family's blood and eventually turns them into Vortilacs. But he's the only one that is a marionette puppet thing. Really weird movie.
Okay, so you're the reason why this is in my algorithm, because I have seen a clip of this movie.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
okay,
I've seen a clip of the grandfather like talking in French with. I was like, that's a really cool like puppet that they made.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think the idea is really cool. That it's cool to watch. I didn't love the movie in general just because I don't really like period pieces and the French subtitles, and that's just it overall not great. But any scene with the puppet, if I could just watch those scenes alone, it's worth it, I guess, for just that.
That one's got a 96 on Tomato Meter.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. Well, check it out, folks. I'm going to spoil. I'm sure a lot of people are not going to watch this, so I'm skip ahead like 2 minutes if you don't want to hear a spoiler. Is it okay if I spoil something for you?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not going to watch it either.
Didn't want to just assume, but I also kind of assumed you're not going to watch it.
Assume correctly.
Yeah. Towards the end of the movie, there's this like love interest of the Kingsman guy, and the Kingsman eventually escapes, and he's looking for the love interest, and he hears her singing in like this tower, and he goes up there, and he's like, "Oh, good, I got you, we got to go," and she's like, "No, why don't you stay?" and starts making advances on him, and he's like, now's not the time. Come on, let's get going. And eventually she gets him in bed, and they're having sex. And he looks over into a mirror and then sees the puppet arms around him. And actually he looks back, and the puppet guy had like bitten out his neck, and he was like having sex with the puppet guy. I don't know. It was a really creepy, weird scene that was amazing.
Interesting.
Yeah. And this is the kind of weird stuff you can find on Shudder if you decide to subscribe to that. Okay. 2 more things, and then I'll be done.
Okay.
I finally watched The Adjustment Bureau. I think we mentioned this.
Oh,
when
yeah.
That goes on. The Hats and Doors movie. And
Yeah.
Hats and Doors.
When are we going to do that as an episode?
I guess we could do it now. We just watched it. I won't say much more, but it's fine.
You don't say.
It's okay. It's just fine. And then I watched The Monkey last night, actually.
Sorry, I was thinking of the new horror movie, The Monkey Hand, but you watched The Monkey, the action movie.
No, I watched The Monkey, the new horror movie.
Oh,
It's just
okay.
called The Monkey. You're thinking the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
It's not The Monkey's Paw. That is a different horror movie. This is The Monkey. He plays like a little drum.
I was thinking of Monkey Man, the 2024 movie.
Oh, I have seen Monkey Man too.
Monkey
That
Man
one's good.
ruled.
Yeah, I love Monkey Man.
How was The Monkey? I heard mixed reviews. Some people, I heard one people say, I really did not care for it, and another being like, I can't wait to see it again.
Yeah, I am mixed as well. Meg and I were talking about it after we watched it last night, and it's a horror comedy. So, Siege, you might end up watching this, so I won't say too much. We at least knew that going into it, so we weren't blindsided like we were with some of the other movies that we discussed in this podcast that were we thought it was supposed to be the scariest thing ever, and then we go in and it's not that at all. So we at least knew hey, it's supposed to be funny, and it's overtly funny at parts. There's parts that I was laughing out loud and I thought it was hilarious. And then other parts where I just can't figure out, it doesn't feel like it has the right mix of comedy to horror. Or it's using horror as comedy, but it's not funny nor scary. I don't know. I think you should watch it and maybe we should do an episode on it.
Okay.
Because I think different people are going to get different things out of it. It's Osgood Perkins who did Long Legs.
Yeah.
So we've already covered that. So might as well just keep it going. Maybe we have Carissa back on and we talk about that sometime.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, if Carissa's not sick of me yet. Yeah.
Yeah. She seemed to enjoy doing it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, she did.
Yeah. It's probably easier talking about horror movies than typing up a newsletter on it.
Yeah, true.
know.
Less work.
That's why we do this. Don't have to type.
Yep.
All right. One more show.
Okay.
Last thing. Did you watch Jury Duty last year?
Loved it.
Okay. There was another show that was very similar to this back in the day, maybe close to 20 years ago, called The Joe Schmo Show.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch that back in the day?
I've heard of it. I don't remember seeing.
Okay. You probably saw the second season of it on DVD on my bookshelf in my old apartment. I loved that show because it was hilarious at the time. It's been 20 years. They just came out with season 4 of it this year.
Interesting.
And it's hilarious. I highly recommend you check it out. It's like Jury Duty, except he's on a game show. And he's the only one who's actually not in on the joke, and everyone else is actors. But the game show is ridiculous to the point where he has to be kind of questioning what's going on, but it's just so funny. It's on TBS, but you could probably procure it in other ways. But yeah, see, I think you would really, really, really find this funny.
Okay.
It's just like Jury Duty.
Yeah.
Except, not a game show. So yeah, I highly recommend season 4 of the Joe Schmo Show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. Let me know if you do. That's about it for me. I've been playing Pokemon
Nice.
on an emulator, but that's all I have time for.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
had my hands full, so that's it. Well, thanks for keeping the podcast going while I was out. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Glad to hear you're getting sleep and that everyone's happy and healthy.
Yes, me too. Yeah, things are all good over here in the blank household. So we're all set. Well, tune in next week where we'll have probably a guest and we'll talk about something.
We'll be back to normal.
Yeah, we'll be back to normal. Yeah. Won't be another week of what you've been watching with just CJ talking about stuff or something like that. No, it'll be a normal show. We're getting back in the swing of things. Just wanted to dip my toes back in and get back eating the groove of things. And yeah.
Oh, no. He did it again. All right. Well, on behalf of Ken, thanks so much for tuning in. Follow us on all the stuff. You know the drill at this point. And hopefully the overlords are back at their place and not mine.
USA killing from now on.
Yep, there it is. Yep. Bye.
Bye.
This episode of the Overtalking Podcast was produced by Ken and CJ, edited by CJ. This week it was just the boys. Music by Justin Peters, logo by Nate Richards. Check out Nate's work on Instagram at Nate Richards Designs.